Hey, this is Jen out of the Rockport and Ingleside offices, and I'm going to give you a real quick overview of CBx. It's a great tool. All you have to do is log in to the app, and then you choose which house you want to work with. You create a listing presentation. You enter the address of the house and square footage and bedrooms and baths if you'd like to. And then the tool does all of the rest. So I hope you enjoy getting to know CBx. It's going to be a great tool for you to use with differentiating yourself from the competition. Okay, cool. All right. So CBx is a tool that integrates a lot of data from statistics and MLSs and demographics and puts it all at your fingertips, basically, is what it does. And it's a great tool to really show that we have the knowledge and the experience to be the right choice for being a lister. So it's really focused on working with your sellers over your buyers. But I can see some applications for both. And it's like any other tool. The way Mary Ann holds a hammer is probably a little different than the way Jimmy holds a hammer, but they both get the nail in the wood. And the way that you apply a hammer kind of depends on what kind of wood you're hammering. So you have to keep in mind that sellers have a whole bunch of different types of personalities. And so how you use this tool should also be geared toward what type of seller you're working with. You know, somebody who's an engineer, God help you if you're working with one of those, is going to want a lot of data. So you're probably going to want to use a lot of the aspects of this tool to work with that engineer. If you're working with someone who just wants the bottom line, you're just going to go straight to the bottom line. It also does not replace the MLS data. While it pulls a lot of that information in, you're going to want to make sure that you've got the latest and greatest out of your MLS tool to apply that data for what their house is specifically about. So a lot of this demographic information is not up to date as far as yesterday. So that's where the MLS comes in and your knowledge of that MLS too. So let's watch the tutorial because that's a great way to kind of get an overview of what the tool is about. And this tutorial is on the CBx application, so you can watch it anytime. If you get confused in the middle after you've used it a little bit and you want a little bit of a refresher, you can watch it. So let's do that.
Welcome to this tour of CBx, Coldwell Banker's exclusive listing experience, specifically designed to enhance your listing presentations, give sellers a better understanding of the market, and express how you are uniquely capable to sell their home. CBx uses public and private data about a seller's neighborhood and/or community to provide a dynamic perspective of buyer and market trends, thereby helping you inform your clients on key variables such as price, buyer profiles, and where potential buyers might come from. Like every home, every buyer is unique. This information can be a helpful marketing tool. Now, let's take a look around CBx. Once you've logged in using your secure Coldwell Banker credentials, you can further personalize the CBx experience so your clients know it's your expertise that they'll need to best market their property. You can also authenticate your LinkedIn profile, which will provide you additional employment data designed to assist you in telling your unique listing story. All saved listing profiles will appear here. You can edit existing listing profiles or create a new one. Simply tap here. You only need to have the most basic information to begin creating a presentation in CBx. Start with the seller's street address and zip code. Everything else can be added later. You can make an impact with a photo of the property, even one you've just snapped with your tablet or phone. Beds, baths, and square footage information are all easily entered. For developing your CMA, you can look at the AVM from the National Association of Realtors RPR widget, which is automatically loaded here and optional. But remember, the choice is yours. You can use RPR's suggested base list price, or start with another price that you developed using your own CMA process. This is your listing story. CBx is simply here to help you make it as persuasive as it can be. This is the price adjustment section, where you can showcase your local expertise by displaying the details of how you arrived at the home value. Values can be either positive or negative adjustments, providing you a great place to tell your pricing story. For example, let's say this home is in a scenic location. You'll want to adjust the suggested list price for that unique aspect of the home by adding View of the Canyon. Your suggested list price automatically recalculates based on the adjustments you've entered. Now that you have your basic listing profile, the fun begins. Let's explore buyer and market data, which will be the foundation for a compelling story. Let's look at the information available to develop a buyer profile. Here, you can give your sellers a clearer picture of who their buyer might be by customizing the demographic profile of their community with real-time data provided by Onboard Informatics, Google, Esri Research, Lead Router, and Experian. Each of these unique data points is based on your seller's neighborhood or zip code. Evaluate which data points enhance your listing story and tap them to add to your presentation. Combined, they can tell a powerful story about the neighborhood and the potential buyer profile. From here, take your selected profile and map it in relation to areas where buyers may be coming from. Map this buyer profile uses an algorithm developed exclusively by Coldwell Banker to conduct a real-time comparison of your profile with every town in the most popular migration counties. Then, it will highlight the towns which have the highest concentration of your specific target audience. With this powerful feature, you have a new dynamic tool to share even more intelligence with your clients about their potential buyers and where they may come from. Review and add even more zip code information with the CB Intelligence section. You'll get another edge on the competition that's entirely at your control. CB Intelligence gleans relevant real estate, home ownership, and local economic data from our mix of sources and offers you the options to pick those most relevant to your listing story. Here is where you can pull in valuable LinkedIn data. Just sign in to your LinkedIn account if you haven't already, and you can display the largest hiring employers and open jobs in the area according to LinkedIn. With map layers, we provide additional data points, as well as an impressive visualization to bring your story to life. Preview the maps before you select, and then tap the button for each map you'd like to share with your seller. Coldwell Banker has partnered with Esri Research to give you access to their powerful Tapestry market segmentation data, which classifies U.S. residential neighborhoods into 67 unique segments based on demographic and socioeconomic characteristics. This information gives you and your clients a deeper understanding of who your potential buyers are and what interests them. Map data points, combined with Esri Tapestry market segmentation, provide you unique and specific market data, combined with amazing visualization to tell your listing story like never before. And with this story, you can take it practically anywhere. It will always be on your device, but you can also export it to either a PDF, which can easily be printed or given as a digital leave-behind, or as a JPEG file, which can be inserted into other documents or listing presentation tools that you're already using. It's nice to have options. And of course, the CBx app can also be used to present the full experience to sellers. Let's take a quick preview of the experience that we've made here. As you can see, only the selections you've made in admin mode will be included in your CBx export, giving you complete control over the information being shared. See a change you want to make as you're reviewing? You can always edit the details here. That's it. When you're done, just click the button. Easy, simple, and loaded with power. With CBx, the power of Coldwell Banker is at your touch. CBx, the power to get to yes.
So the key is, especially when you're in a situation where you're competing with some other companies for the business, this tool, no one else has this tool, only Coldwell Banker agents. So by getting in front of the sellers and walking them through some of this data, they're gonna feel very confident that you know where their buyers are coming from, what the competition in the neighborhood is, how they can best sell their home quickly, if that's their goal. Some of them want to just play the market, but you don't want those listings anyway. So let's go through one. I'm going to use my husband Jay had a house that he purchased at a foreclosure before we got married, and now it's one of our rental houses. So I played with this a little bit last night. If I go into the CB Intelligence, it tells me for that zip code and for that neighborhood even, if I scroll down deep enough, where the average home value is in that neighborhood, what the average property taxes are, how many housing units are available, what the market looks like. And if I sign in with LinkedIn, and I hope that it
So you need LinkedIn?
You
to
don't.
get them?
No, all this does, I don't really need to go into it. All it does is it goes into LinkedIn and looks at available jobs in the area. And it really didn't apply for Rockport because we don't have a lot of industry there, but in Victoria, if you link your LinkedIn, it goes out and pulls in some job and industry information that tags it into this. So if you've got a seller who you think would be a fit for a lot of the Caterpillar guys coming in, for example, you can show how many jobs are still open, how the growth is in that industry. So it's just another factor that gives them the data that you feel they should have to understand what the type of buyer profile is coming in for that house. I like a lot of data. Some people, don't, and you're gonna have to kind of get a feel from your seller on how much information they really want. Like I said, some of them will just go straight to the bottom line and this won't matter, but the perception that you have this data at your fingertips is only gonna give you strength over your competition. So that's what I love about it. When you go into your map layers, you can preview how each one looks. So if I scroll down into this particular neighborhood, it tells me how many houses have sold in that area and where my competition is, this green one. If I punch any dot, it shows me where it's sold, where it's located, and this is a neighborhood like a lot of coastal communities where you've got houses all over the map.
Where does that data come from?
MLS information. So you do, like I said earlier though, you need to make sure that you still have your most recent MLS stats, because some of them, if something sold yesterday, it probably won't show up here right away.
Is that the IDX feed?
I don't know the internals of the system. I meant to check yesterday to kind of get some information on that. I know enough to be dangerous at this point, but I believe it's tied into our MLS. Today's session 2 is just to give you a real kind of detailed overview of it. There are training sessions, and I hope everybody saw the email that went out. Training sessions that Coldwell Banker is hosting, webinars that start on the 15th and go all the way through the 30th. There are multiple sessions, so I hope you guys will take the time to register for one of those training sessions, because they're going to go into a lot more detail. I'm honestly not an expert. I've played with it, and I really see the power of it. And so I'm kind of the evangelist today.
It said in there somewhere that the data was being provided by Onboard Informatics.
If you look at
Whatever that is.
If you look at the map layers on this window, it shows you what data sources they're using. So you've got job data from LinkedIn, you've got Tapestry, you've got Esri, you've got Experian. So they've got Onboard Informatics. They've tied a lot of this information together. You could go out and pull each of this data source in yourself, but this tool just allows you to integrate it and really look like you know exactly what you're talking about. And you've got, the key is making that seller perception be such that they don't want to work with anybody else. Why would they? Because you've got the information that they need to sell their home. So on each of these, you can preview and decide. You can see in Rockport, in this particular area, Rockport, average household income is kind of middle of the ground. If you go into some of the other areas outside of town, it's a little bit larger. Rockport's kind of homogeneous, but you can even go into how many homes are occupied by renters, again, based on demographics that they've collected. I like this one because it talks about how many homes have changed hands. And I assume this goes back for the last year. So you can see Ingleside, see how dark blue that one is? There's a lot of activity there. And parts of Corpus and Sinton. Homes change hands quite a bit. So it's based on the color. If you're a visual person, it's really going to pop for you. But it kind of tells you where some areas are that have a lot of volume of sales, so a lot of things that are moving pretty quickly. So you might, from a farming perspective, kind of use this tool to say, where do I want to focus my prospecting, because that neighborhood looks like it's pretty active. Change in total population. Again, you're seeing a lot of the growth. The greens are more the higher change as people are, that's a growth area, folks moving in, versus the reds and the orange, which is a loss of population.
If this shows like they're moving out.
Moving out. So again, an area from a farming perspective you might want to take advantage of.
And you have used it for presentations, right?
I have. In fact, I had a relocation. I don't see Carolyn. Is Carolyn? Oh, there you are. I had a relocation that she forced me to take in a little community called Whistler's Cove. And I knew that they told me right up front they were going to talk to 3 other people. And so I sat down, and actually it was the first time I'd used CBx. And I could tell they were a younger couple, and sometimes when they're dealing with an older agent, they're kind of like, oh, I don't know, you know, she's not cool. But once I started walking them through their neighborhood profile and where the buyers come from and what age group and demographic their buyers were and how we were going to target that, I could just see their faces kind of start to light up. Whereas when I walked in, they were kind of, you know, whatever. We've got to talk to 3 people. It's a real situation, and they're telling us we have to talk to 3. So by the time I walked out of there, I felt like they were going to choose Coldwell Banker. So I was really thrilled to have that tool, because they were a younger couple. They're used to iPads. They're used to, you know, this kind of, if I'm pointing and I'm scrolling and I'm showing them that I know what I'm talking about with this tool, they felt really confident working with me. So I think CBx was a key factor in getting that reload company to choose us. The other thing that I think really gets a seller's attention is when you can look at this buyer profile and you can see, I especially liked the top 3 areas that are moving to that area, and I can see the family size, I can see that income. You know, that allows me from a social media perspective with Facebook ads, for example, I can target ads specifically to that geographical area, that family demographic, and that income level. Facebook and other tools are coming along, but Facebook ads, for example, give you all of those aspects that you can then focus your marketing for a very low price to a specific group. So it's not to say that this is the 100% accurate buyer profile that's going to make an offer on that house, but it gives you an edge in knowing who's more likely to make an offer on the house. So, yeah.
So when you choose those, I mean, who's telling you that like those different ones you check, you know, so is that your?
I choose it based on who my seller is and what I think will give me the most edge in beating out my competition. So, like I said, if you've got an engineer, the more data you can show them, the better. If you've got somebody who's, you know, they're going to focus on you based on personality, it probably doesn't matter that much as far as what data you're showing them, but the fact that you are showing them this tool and walking them through the market and the prospective buyer demographic, the more they're going to be impressed and think, this is a woman or a man that I want to work with. So it's perception is everything, right? So the more you can walk in there and give them the information that gives you the edge, the better off you're going to be. So.
Your question, where are they getting the information?
Well, I mean, you have to know as the agent.
You have to choose.
You have to choose if you want to highlight that,
yeah.
You know, and what it is, and you know, so
and
you
part
have to
of
have
this
knowledge of some sort.
Right. Part of this is you being comfortable with the tool.
Yeah.
And the more, the best way to get comfortable with the tool is download it and just start playing with it. And with the reload situation, I decided to just try it and go for it. And so I played with it enough. I didn't show them everything, but I was able to show them enough that they really were impressed. So, like I said earlier, Mary Ann's gonna hold a hammer a little differently than Jimmy does. This is your hammer. You choose what pieces you wanna put in that application. So, but between the buyer profile and the map layers, as far as, you know, I don't really think average homeowners insurance is gonna be a major deal for people buying in Rockport, because they all know it's waterfront or water view, or we're gonna have flood insurance, we're gonna have windstorm. So they all kinda expect to have higher insurance rates than normal, but it doesn't hurt to show it, especially if you're working with a new home buyer who's never had to deal with it before. So again, you kind of filter the tool based on what that seller is gonna be, so.
So you do that while you're with your seller, or do you do that
Before you walk in. Now, if you're into the deal and they're asking you questions and it's not on here, you can always go in and say edit your deal. So let's just say I've closed this. And now I've edited what I want to show and I'm going to preview it. And this is what you're showing as you're walking through your presentation with the seller. You're showing them the buyer. See, these are all things that I picked. If they say, well, you know, where are most of these people coming from? I can exit out of this and I can edit the details. I'm sorry. I can go into the layers and say, well, look, here's how many owner-occupied units we've got. Here's how many are vacant. This is kind of basically your competition for the whole area. This is where your average mortgage payment and homeowner expenses are. I mean, if they're asking you questions and you know you've got the data, you can always go back in and add it in so they can see it. So I just added in the homeowner expenses, I added in the disposable income, that kind of thing. So you can go in the middle of your talk with them. If you've kind of misjudged what they really care about, you can always go in right there and add it in.
Do they ask you to get copies of this for them?
With the reload couple, they didn't ask me for copies. No one has asked me for copies right now, so far. But if they do, then you just go back to your presentation and you say export. And I assume that they would do a PDF. You choose what you're gonna include in that PDF. Sorry, hit the wrong button. You're gonna include what map layers you want. You don't have to print all of it. If they say, hey, would you print out that buyer profile for me, or would you email that to me, then I can do that, and I can export, and it creates it, and I can email it out. So I would recommend that you not. I mean, the whole point of this tool is you're there, you're interactive, you've got the data at your fingerprints, you're scrolling in, you're moving around, you're showing them different things. It really isn't conducive to printing it out. See, this now just generated this deal so I can email it to them. But when I've looked at the printouts, for example, on those map layers, you can't really tell. It's just this group of dots on a piece of paper. So it doesn't really help you. If they ask for it, you can say, yeah, sure, I'll give it to you. But they're not going to find it useful. What they're going to remember is what you showed them on the iPad. So I just think it's incredibly powerful. It really gives us an edge over the competition. It really gives us a cutting edge kind of feel when you walk into a seller. And like I said, I've used it a couple of times now with guys and gotten the business every time. So
When did this come out?
Just recently, about 2 months ago, they put it out for the App Store. Last I heard, it still wasn't available for Android. I'm an Apple iPad passionate person, so I strongly just go for the iPad, but they are looking at rolling it out to the Android. Like I said, there's full detailed training on this starting the 15th all the way through the 30th. There are multiple sessions. Did that email go out to everybody?
Well, I got it.
I got it.
I didn't do it.
So we'll make sure that you guys get it.
I don't think I got it.
It was a picture of
Where, CB Works?
bald-headed guy on there.
It's a video.
Oh, this is in my mail.
Means old people can do it?
Yep.
Yeah, old people can do it. I'm old.
Lee, you're
Old
in.
people can do it. Lee's played with it. So, any
So if we have any
questions in
Lee, we can-
general?
That's right.
I just think
Just make an
this,
appointment first.
Good luck with that.
this is where real estate is going. Yeah.
Are the trainings are via YouTube or?
Their webinar, I believe they're live webinars, the way it's presented. Because there are specific sessions that you sign up for. And, I mean, you should just sign up for a session and have it up on the screen.